This is the day 2 video for multiplying polynomials. If you watched the previous video, I went over how to multiply polynomials utilizing the algebra tiles, and I led into FOIL. So remember, FOIL is the acronym that helps you remember that you're actually going to be multiplying 4 times when you're multiplying a binomial, which is 2 terms, by a binomial, which is 2 terms. So the F helps you remember that you multiply your first term times your first term. So in this example, x times x is x squared. Then you need to multiply your outers and inners. So my inners would be 1 times x, which is x, and x times 2 is my outers, and that is 2x. Then the L helps you remember to multiply your last times your last. 1 times 2 is 2. Then just like with the algebra tiles, the last step is to combine like terms and write your polynomial. So you have x squared for your first term, 1x and 2x make 3x for your middle term, and then you bring down your last term, which is plus 2. So the simplified polynomial would be x squared plus 3x plus 2. These are your notes. This is a copy of your notes that's been filled in, so I am going to pull up and do a couple of examples now. So the first method that we are going to talk about is FOIL, so that's the method that I just went over with you. So I am going to take number 1 and I'm going to rewrite it a little bit larger so that I have a little bit more room to work. So I have x minus 2 times x minus 1. So remember, first times first, x times x is x squared. Last times last, negative 1 times negative 2 is positive 2. Then my inners make negative 2x. And my outers make negative 1x. The last step is to combine like terms. So I bring down my x squared, negative 2x and negative 1x make negative 3x, and then I bring down my plus 2. And this would be the simplified product. Alright, let's go ahead and look at number 4. This one uses a coefficient on your second binomial. So we have a minus 1 times 2a plus 5. So just like last time, step 1, I'm going to multiply a times 2a. That's 2a squared. Negative 1 times 5 is negative 5. Then my inners make negative 2a, and my outers make positive 5a. Now I'm going to combine like terms. So I bring down my 2a squared. Negative 2a plus 5a is positive 3a. Then I bring down my minus 5. And this would be my simplified product. Okay, so that's FOIL. FOIL stands for first, outer, inner, last. Now I've had a couple of people who've come in for tutoring and asked because they get confused with the lines. And so I also taught you guys another method called the box method, which is what we're going to talk about next. The box method is the same thing as FOIL, it's just a different way to organize your work. It gives you a little box to work inside of. So you're going to take your binomials and you're going to place them on the outside of your box. So I have x minus 3 and I have x minus 2. Now I'm still multiplying my first times my first, it's just that I'm doing this like a multiplication chart. So I have to multiply this x times this x, just like I did with FOIL. That makes x squared. Then I'm going to multiply x times negative 2, which makes negative 2x. Then I'm going to multiply x times negative 3, which makes negative 3x. And then I multiply negative 3 times negative 2, which makes positive 6. Just like with FOIL, the last step is to combine those like terms. So I have x squared, and then negative 2x and negative 3x make negative 5x, and then I have my plus 6. The box method is not a different method than FOIL, it's just a different organization of the work. So if you prefer FOIL, you can use that, but if you prefer the box, you may use that as well. Let's go ahead and look at number 10. So this has some coefficients, so we have 2w minus 5, and we have w minus 3. So remember, you do your first times your first, so I'm multiplying those two, and that gives me 2w squared Then I'm multiplying 2w times negative 3. That makes negative 6w. Then I'm multiplying w times negative 5. That makes negative 5w. And negative 5 times negative 3 is positive 15. The last step is to combine those like terms, and you get 2w squared minus 11w plus 15 as your product. Alright, these were all binomials times binomials. That means 2 terms times 2 terms, which made a trinomial. But at the end of this lesson, we talked about what would happen if we multiplied a binomial times a trinomial. So I want to do an example like that as well. When you have a binomial times a trinomial, you're actually going to be using the distributive property, but it's similar to FOIL because you need to multiply your first term, so this x, times your first term. X times x squared is x to the third. Then I multiply x times positive x, which would make positive x squared. Then I have to multiply x times negative 1, which is negative x. So it's similar to FOIL because I multiply my first term times everything in the second set of parentheses, and then I do the same thing with the second term. So negative 2 times x squared is negative 2x squared. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x, and then negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2. And then just like before, your last step is to combine those like terms. So you bring down your x to the third, and then x squared minus 2x squared would make a negative 1x squared. Then negative x minus 2x is negative 3x, and then my plus 2 gets tacked on to the end. And then this would be my simplified product. Okay, so we have been working with FOIL or multiplying polynomials for a couple of days now, and we're in the process of doing an assessment called your polynomial project. So if you have any questions about this or you're still not feeling very confident, please come in for tutorials. Y'all have a great day.